Picture this. January 13, 1987. Dawn over Braemar, Aberdeenshire. The thermometer sinks to -27.2 degrees Celsius, the coldest temperature ever recorded in Britain. Breath freezes midday. Footsteps crunch like breaking glass. Radios crackle with disbelief. This is not an ordinary winter morning. It is history tightening its grip. Across the country, darkness lingers longer than it should. Pipes groan. Engines refuse. Britain wakes into a cold it has never truly felt before. A cold that bites through walls and willpower alike. This single day will enter weather folklore, whispered for decades. A moment when modern Britain, confident and connected, is humbled by ancient forces. The stage is set. The nation is about to learn how fragile warmth really is. Records shatter, and memories begin for everyone. Just days earlier, Britain felt settled into routine winter life. Shops opened as usual. Children walked to school in wool coats. Forecasts spoke of cold nights, nothing extraordinary. The North Sea lay steel grey but calm. Yet high above, a vast Arctic air mass was drifting south, pushed by stubborn high pressure over Scandinavia. Weather charts hinted at danger, though few noticed. December had already been harsh, softening the nation for worse. Central heating worked overtime. Gritters prepared quietly. Farmers watched livestock nervously. In towns, buses still ran, trains still connected cities, and homes glowed against early darkness. The cold crept in stages, night by night, tightening its hold. Frost lingered at noon. Rivers edged with ice. Car doors stiffened. There was a strange stillness, a deceptive calm before impact. By the second week of January, pressure systems locked together like gears. Winds fell away, skies cleared, and heat escaped relentlessly into space. Britain, exposed beneath crystal-clear nights, was primed for a plunge. The stage had been prepared with mathematical precision. All that remained was for temperature to fall beyond expectation, beyond memory, and beyond anything recorded before. Meteorologists grew uneasy, knowing clear skies and snow cover amplify extremes, trapping communities beneath invisible lids of cold, waiting silently for records to break within days, across Britain and beyond forecasts. As the cold tightened, Britain slowed. On January 12, daytime temperatures barely lifted above -10 in parts of Scotland. Snow lay hard and dry, refusing to melt. By nightfall, readings plunged again. Roads ice solid. Motorways became silent corridors. Trains stalled as points froze. Diesel thickened. Batteries failed. In cities, commuters queued in the dark, breath steaming, waiting for services that never came. Schools closed by the hundreds. Deliveries faltered. Milk froze in bottles. Across northern England, snowdrifts blocked rural lanes, isolating villages. Councils spread grit until supplies ran low. Emergency warnings crackled over local radio. By the 13th, the cold reached deeper south. London fell below -10 degrees Celsius, an almost unheard of figure. The Thames steamed faintly at dawn. Buses struggled across bridges glazed with ice. Airports closed runways as de-icing equipment failed. Power demand surged while lines sagged under frost. Engineers worked through the night, fingers numb, restoring supply where they could. Hospitals activated cold weather plans. Ambulances crept carefully through frozen streets. This was not a single storm but a grinding siege, lasting days. Each sunrise revealed another layer of disruption. Each sunset promised worse. Britain's intricate systems, built for moderation, strained under Arctic conditions, exposing how quickly normal life could unravel. From highlands to home counties, The map turned blue with warnings. Fuel deliveries slowed. Supermarket shelves thinned. Telephones rang endlessly at council offices. Every hour brought fresh closures, fresh delays, fresh disbelief at numbers still falling on thermometers everywhere. Even coastal towns, tempered by the sea, shivered as harbors iced and ferries halted, proving no corner of the country was spared during those relentless days. News bulletins led with weather, counting casualties, broken records, and the growing sense that Britain was living inside a deep freeze unprecedented, frightening, and unforgettable nationwide. Then came the peak. January 13, 1987. In Braemar, a small highland village, the mercury collapsed to -27.2 degrees Celsius. A British record. The air burned skin. Sound vanished. Cars left running froze solid. Inside homes, windows bloomed with ice flowers inches thick. Outside, streetlights glowed weakly through diamond-hard air. Across Scotland, temperatures stayed below -15 all day. In northern England, -20 was widely reported overnight. Even London awoke to a brutal -12. Landmarks stood frozen in disbelief. Edinburgh Castle loomed above a silent city. The Angel of the North vanished in drifting white. In villages, taps ran dry as pipes burst. In flats, breath-fogged bedrooms. Night felt endless, stars sharp and cruel. Snow squeaked underfoot like polystyrene. Trees cracked loudly as sap froze. Power cuts rolled through estates, plunging streets into absolute darkness. Candles flickered. Radios whispered updates. This was cold beyond inconvenience. It was cold that demanded respect. A cold that slowed thought itself. People moved carefully, deliberately, conserving heat and energy. Outside help was distant. Roads were impassable. Helicopters struggled in dense air. The country seemed paused, held in a crystal grip. For 24 hours, Britain existed at the edge of habitability, measuring survival in cups of tea, extra blankets, and the fragile comfort of shared walls. News cameras froze. Film crews battled batteries dying within minutes. Schools, offices, factories stood empty. Livestock huddled against stone walls. Rivers locked solid. In some places, thermometers simply stopped. Weather presenters spoke slowly, carefully, aware they were describing a once-in-a-lifetime event unfolding live. Across the nation, the same question echoed quietly. How low could it go, and how long would it last? Silence dominated afternoons. Sound carried for miles. Footsteps, doors, distant trains. The cold pressed inward, relentless, patient, ancient, testing both infrastructure and resolve. From tower blocks to farmhouses, from motorways to moorland, Britain endured together, watching breath turn white, time slow, and the idea of comfort shrink to the smallest possible meaning. Every hour etched itself into memory, a benchmark of cold that would haunt forecasts for generations across the British Isles forever. Inside homes, survival became practical and personal. People slept in living rooms, curtains drawn, doors sealed with towels. Ovens were opened after cooking to release warmth. Hot water bottles were treasured. Baths were rationed. Taps dripped constantly to prevent freezing. Food ran low as freezers failed. Neighbors checked on neighbors. Elderly residents received unexpected knocks and quiet cups of tea. Community halls opened as warming centers. Volunteers delivered coal, blankets, and soup. Emergency services worked continuously, responding to burst pipes, minor fires, and cold-related illness. Councils coordinated shelters for the stranded. In rural areas, farmers shared generators and fuel. In towns, families gathered around single heaters, telling stories to pass the long nights. Children wore hats indoors. Breath hung visibly in kitchens. Yet amid hardship, there was solidarity. Streets felt closer. People spoke longer, listened more. The cold stripped life back to essentials. Warmth, light, company. When the power returned, cheers echoed through terraces. When a road reopened, it felt like victory. Britain endured not through technology alone, but through shared resolve, patience, and quiet care, proving that even in extreme cold, community remained a powerful source of heat. Local radio became a lifeline, sharing updates, advice, and reassurance. Small acts mattered. A spare extension lead, a thermos offered, a shared laugh. These gestures stitched neighborhoods together against the freeze, reminding everyone they were not alone. Fire crews, police, and medical staff pushed themselves to exhaustion, embodying a quiet heroism that rarely made headlines but sustained countless households through the bitterest hours. Across Britain, resilience was learned in real time, measured not in degrees, but in human connection shared quietly every night until the freeze loosened its final grip. When temperatures finally edged upward, relief spread cautiously. Ice softened, pipes thawed, roads reopened slowly. Children returned to school wrapped in stories. Damage emerged in stages. Burst mains, cracked masonry, lost livestock. Yet Britain breathed again. The record cold retreated north, leaving behind exhausted services and humbled expectations. In weather archives, January 1987 became a reference point, a line drawn in ice. It reshaped planning, insulation standards, and public memory. Whenever forecasts hint at Arctic air, comparisons return to that winter. For those who lived it, the coldest day remains vivid. A sensation rather than a statistic. A memory of silence, frost, and community. It stands as a reminder that Britain's climate can still surprise, challenge, and unite. The freeze of 1987 endures not just in records, but in the stories passed down, winter after winter. It remains a benchmark against which every severe British winter is inevitably measured by meteorologists and ordinary families alike today. Do you remember that cold? Where were you when Britain froze? Share your memories below. If these stories matter to you, subscribe to Britain Rewind and help preserve the moments that shaped our shared past. Together, we keep Britain's history alive, remembered, and respectfully passed on for future generations everywhere.